So you're thinking about starting a company in India. It's a massive opportunity, right? But where do you even begin? Well, that's what we're here for. Over the next few minutes, we're going to map out the entire journey for a foreign investor, turning what seems like a really complex process into a clear, actionable guide.
You know, if you're hunting for growth, India isn't just on the list, it's practically the list. We're talking about one of the fastest growing economies on the planet. But for anyone looking in from the outside, that huge potential comes with a pretty big question. Where on earth do you even begin?
And that's the classic dilemma, isn't it? On one side, you've got this incredible explosive growth, and on the other, a rulebook that just looks intimidating. It's so easy to feel completely overwhelmed before you've even typed a single word.
But hey, that's exactly what we're going to tackle right now. We are going to cut through all that complexity and turn that tangled mess of regulations into a simple, step-by-step roadmap that you can actually use.
All right, let's get right into it. Section 1 is what I like to call the blueprint. This is all about the big, strategic decisions you have to make before a single piece of paperwork is filed. Get this right, and everything else gets easier. Okay, your very first choice is about the structure of your company. Now, most foreign investors go with a private limited company, and for some really good reasons. First, it protects your personal assets. That's huge. And second, it makes it way easier to raise capital down the road. The alternative is a limited liability partnership, or LLP. It's definitely simpler, less paperwork, but you might find there are restrictions on the kind of business you can actually run. So it's a trade-off.
Now, whatever you do, your investment is going to be governed by India's Foreign Direct Investment Policy. You'll hear it called FDI. Just think of it as the master rule book, the official framework that sets all the rules for how foreign money can come into the country.
So, this is a really critical point. Your investment is going to go down one of two paths. The first one is the automatic route. This is the one you're hoping for. It covers most sectors, think manufacturing, IT, pharma, and it basically means you can invest first and just let the authorities know afterward. Super simple. The second path is the government route. This is for more sensitive areas like defense or broadcasting. And here, you need to get approval before you invest a single dollar. Knowing which route you're on is absolutely essential because it completely changes your timeline.
Okay, so you've got your strategy locked in. Now it's time to actually build the foundation. In Section 2, we're getting into the nitty-gritty, the practical, step-by-step process of getting your company officially incorporated. All right, before you can even fill out the main application, you've got a little pre-incorporation checklist to tick off. First up, every single director needs what's called a Digital Signature Certificate, or DSC. That's for signing all the forms online. Second, each director has to get a Director Identification Number, or DIN. And third, you have to reserve your company's name. They have a system for this called RUN, which stands for Reserve Unique Name. Get those three done and you're ready for the main event.
And check out this timeline. It really shows you just how fast things can move if you're prepared. You can get those first three things, the DSC, DIN, and name, done in about 5 days. The main filing takes maybe another week or so. And boom! In less than a month, you can be fully incorporated and even have a bank account open. The whole process has become incredibly efficient. And the real hero of this whole streamlined process? It's a form called Spice Plus. Seriously, this thing is amazing. It's an all-in-one digital application that handles everything, not just the incorporation, but it also gets you your key tax numbers like your PAN and your TAN. It bundles everything into one neat package. It is a total game changer for getting set up quickly.
All right, so your company officially exists on paper. Now you got to give it some life. The next step is to resource it with two critical things: leadership and, of course, capital. And you got to pay close attention here because there are some very specific rules. Okay, this number, 1, it looks so simple, right? But it represents what is probably the single most important rule you need to plan for. Your company must have at least one resident director. I can't stress this enough. This is a common hurdle that can stop everything in its tracks if you're not ready for it. So, what exactly does resident mean in this context? Well, it's a director who has physically been in India for at least 182 days during the previous calendar year. And the implication of that is huge. It means you can't just appoint your entire team from your home country. You either have to find a trusted, qualified person on the ground in India, or you need to plan for one of your own team to make a pretty significant relocation. Next up, let's talk capital. Now, legally speaking, there's actually no minimum share capital required, but
100,000 rupees, which is around 1,200 US dollars, is kind of the recommended starting point. And this isn't about some strict legal rule, it's more about operational credibility. It just looks a lot better when you're opening bank accounts and starting relationships with local partners.
Look, getting incorporated is just the starting line, not the finish line. The real long game is all about staying compliant. That is the absolute key to operating smoothly and, profitably in India for years to come.
And a huge part of that, of course, is taxes. So you'll see a base corporate tax rate, but it's really important to know that it doesn't stop there. Once you add in the required surcharge and another thing called a cess, the actual effective tax rate for most foreign companies is going to land somewhere between 25 and 30%. And it's not just about paying the tax, it's about filing the right paperwork on time. This table here lays out the 3 big ones you have to do every single year: your annual return and your financials, which go to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and of course your income tax return. Hitting these deadlines is just non-negotiable.
Which brings us to the part everyone's really interested in, right? The ultimate goal of any investment is getting a return. So let's talk about that final, crucial step: how you legally and properly take your profits out of the country and bring them home. And the key takeaway here is that the system is actually very clear about this. As a foreign investor, you can repatriate things like dividends, the money you get from selling shares, and even funds from royalties. The bottom line is, as long as you follow the rules and pay all the necessary taxes along the way, the path for bringing your profits home is clear and really well defined.
You know, this quote from the guide we're drawing from really just nails it. Success in India isn't about one magic trick. It's about a combination of things: really smart planning up front, leaning on local experts who know the turf, and a serious, ongoing commitment to staying compliant.
So there you have it. We've taken that intimidating rulebook and turned it into a clear roadmap. The process is defined, the steps are totally manageable, and that huge opportunity, well, it's still there. The only question left is, what will you build?